Hi, it's hard to find a quiet place these days. This is my local park, and already it's a Sunday and there's people wandering up and down, dogs and park rangers doing this and the other, and a cricket game going on. Anyway, that's life. This time next week it's going to be so different for me, and I'll probably be broadcasting from there because I'm going on a retreat at a place I can't even pronounce. Some of you would have heard of it. It's quite a famous retreat centre in Wales on near the west coast. No, I can't remember it, but I will broadcast from it next week. So start off with an advert. If you are inclined and if it interests you, we're going to have a run through of my third drama, the one that I mentioned last week, that was partly the subject of the pitch that I mentioned. That is the third part of the trilogy. It's going to be we're going to do a Zoom session on Friday week at 7 in the evening. Already there's 8 of us so far. There's 34 parts, but most of them are little parts, so there's certainly room for anyone else to come along to take part, or just to come and listen or watch and make comments. Anybody's welcome, so let me know if you want the Zoom codes. That will be Friday week, whenever that is, the end of May sometime. Okay, not sure, sometimes it's hard to know what's actually been covered, because I do this the video thing, but also do an audio thing on Mondays, but I don't think I've covered this on the video thing, and that is I'm carrying on doing these screenplays because I think the theory is that you just keep doing it. You know, if it's fun to do and if it's therapeutic as it is, then I'll just keep doing them, and by doing them I hope that my craft will increase and I'll get better at it, as I still feel within me that this is the way to go for the future, but time will tell, and that's partly the purpose of the retreat next week, to really get to think about such things. So this first one of a series based on very loosely on the Tales of the Unexpected, back in the 60s, 70s. I think I'm calling them Curious Tales. I'm going to do a series of 6, half an hour each, and now I've done the first one. I finished it last week. I'm quite pleased with it, and it's interesting because it's just half an hour rather than like an hour and a half. It's got to be quite tightly structured, which doesn't really sort of follow my normal way of doing things. You know, I don't normally plan, I just sort of do things as they come to me, and that's how I did this one. So the premise is there's 2 men go to a pub. They've both been ill, so they haven't been reading the papers or watching the news, and as they sit in the pub, they pick up a newspaper and it says the world is going to end tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and that's the premise, and everything will flow from there. So in the pub there are 4 groups of people, who basically are all loosely connected, and all of whom our 2 heroes connect with, or have some interaction with. There's a family, just a small family. There are 2 middle-aged ladies seemingly having an argument. There's an older man and a young girl that seem to be canoodling, and then there's 2 old gentlemen who seem to be like having a reunion, and that's the impression from our 2 chaps as they start their interactions. So, well, the thing is that when I hit the 20-minute mark, I mean, these things are meant to be 30. Once I hit the 20-minute mark, everything had been resolved. There was nowhere to go, and I thought, this is not an ending. Wasn't it's too early anyway. So I thought, this is the power. This is what I love about screenplay, because it's almost like I'm the god of the screenplay, because I'm able to do anything. And I thought, as it's a Tales of the Unexpected, let's do the unexpected. And so I froze the frame at that point, similarly to if you remember the end of, remember that sitcom, fantastic sitcom from the 60s, from the 80s or 90s, called Soap, the American thing, where at the end of every episode, there was a freeze frame and a voiceover just sort of explains, what's going to happen next. Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Well, that's what I've done on this. Is that there's a freeze frame, and there is a sort of action where all the families, all the groups are all in some sort of pose doing something, or maybe having an argument, or about to have a punch up or whatever. So I'll do a freeze frame to describe what's happening, and then the voiceover will give the description, and then he'll say, you know something, our two chaps, we've only just discovered that they've got the paper, they got yesterday's paper. So in fact what was happening is that the world is not going to end tomorrow, it's going to end in 10 minutes. So I thought, this is not very nice for our two chaps, because their wives are at home and they've been a bit estranged to their wives. So as the god of the screenplay, I say, okay, let's remove them from the drama, let's send them back to their wives and carry on with everyone else. And then I thought, okay, there are two characters, one is a main one and one is very peripheral. So what would happen if, and then I just got them to fall in love with each other, and I thought, this is interesting. And that is the tagline, or the log line of the whole thing. A man and a woman fall madly in love, but the world is ending in 10 minutes. And that's basically the grip, the hook of the whole thing. What in those last 10 minutes is the two of them acting out their newly found love for each other, a love that they've neither have had in their lives. And they're both in their 50s, 60s, and it leads right up to the end of the world, because right at the end they're having a conversation, and then the lady says, oh, and there's another thing, and she doesn't even finish her sentence, because that's when it all ends. There's a sort of a white flash, that's the end. And, which is an unusual ending, I suppose, but that's the long and short of it. And just following on from that, I've sent that to a competition. It just came up at the right time. A competition that it's an international one from America, and its final date was tomorrow. And it's an annual thing. I thought, well, that's interesting. I can just get that one in on time, so I've sent it off. And one thing about competition is that you're guaranteed that it's going to be read, and that's important for me. That at least someone, that when they read them, they don't know who you are, they don't even know your name. You're just an entrant to the competition. So let's see how far I go with that. I don't really expect much, but I just like the idea that someone will read it and maybe write a report on it. I don't know. So anyway, that's enough for now. I'll speak to you again, maybe possibly from Wales on my retreat. So have a good week. Bye.